You opened your eyes this morning and reached for your phone before your feet touched the floor. Notifications waiting, emails stacking, a mental list already forming before you'd even decided to be awake. By noon, you'd switched between 12 different tabs, responded to messages that didn't matter, organized a folder you'll never open again, moved things around without moving anything forward. And tonight, when your head hits the pillow, you'll feel that familiar weight. Not the satisfying exhaustion of someone who built something, the hollow kind, the kind that whispers, "What did I actually do today?" If someone asked you right now what genuinely changed in your life this week, you'd struggle to name it. Not because you weren't busy, you were drowning in busy, but busy doing what exactly? Here's what should terrify you. This isn't a bad week. This is your normal. And the longer it feels normal, the less you question it. Because here's the truth. Most people never see coming. Being constantly busy while nothing moves forward isn't a productivity problem. It's a psychological trap. And the worst part, your brain isn't broken. It isn't lazy. It isn't failing you. It's doing exactly what you trained it to do. You know that feeling when your calendar is completely full and you still feel empty, like you're sprinting on a treadmill that someone else is controlling. There's a reason for that. Modern life didn't just make you busier, it rewired something deeper. It taught your nervous system that movement equals safety, that stillness equals danger, that as long as you're doing something, you're protected from having to face anything. So you keep your schedule packed, not because it serves you, because empty space makes you anxious. You fill gaps with tasks that don't threaten you. Reorganize what's already organized. Consume content about changing instead of actually changing. And on the rare day when nothing's planned, you don't feel free, you feel exposed. This video isn't about time management. It's not about discipline or motivation or squeezing more into your day. This is about the psychology behind why staying busy can quietly keep you stuck, why your brain chooses motion over meaning, and why that choice, over time, becomes invisible. Because to understand why this works so well on you, why millions of people are exhausted but going nowhere, you first need to see how busyness stopped being a habit and became emotional protection. Let's start with something you've probably done this week. You had a decision to make, a real one, the kind that would actually shift something in your life. Maybe it was about your career, a relationship that's been draining you, a creative project collecting dust in your mind. And instead of sitting with it, you cleaned your entire apartment. Not because it desperately needed cleaning, because sitting still with that decision felt unbearable. The silence was too loud. The weight of choosing, and possibly choosing wrong, was too heavy. So you found something, anything, that let you feel productive without being vulnerable. That's not procrastination. That's protection. Your brain learned a long time ago that big decisions come with big consequences. They expose you to failure, rejection, the terrifying possibility that you're not who you thought you were. But small tasks, they're safe, predictable, controllable. They deliver the sensation of progress without the soul-level risk of being wrong. So you answer emails that could wait until tomorrow, rearrange your desk for the third time this month, volunteer for projects at work that keep you occupied but don't actually challenge the direction of your life. And here's the part that makes this truly dangerous. It works. Busyness keeps you from asking the uncomfortable questions. Questions like, what do I actually want? Or the one that freezes people for years. What if I choose wrong and realize I wasted the best years of my life? Your brain will always prefer constant motion over meaningful exposure. Because motion never demands a final answer. It just demands more motion, another task, another distraction, another day where you didn't have to confront what you're actually avoiding. And once that pattern embeds itself deep enough, it stops feeling like avoidance. It starts feeling like responsibility. You spent 2 hours yesterday building the perfect playlist for deep work. Color-coded your to-do list by priority. Watched 3 videos about productivity systems you'll never actually use. And when the day ended, you felt something. Not quite satisfaction, but not guilt either. Because you were doing things. Your hands were moving. Your brain was engaged. You weren't just sitting there, except none of it mattered. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain discovered a loophole. It found a way to get the chemical reward of accomplishment without any of the existential risk that comes with real progress. Reorganizing your notes for the 5th time this month triggers the same dopamine hit as using them to create something. Tweaking your morning routine feels identical to actually executing on your goals. Researching business ideas delivers the exact same neurological payoff as launching one, minus the part where people can tell you it's terrible. You're not lazy, you're not unmotivated, you're self-soothing through action. And your brain doesn't care whether that action leads anywhere. It only cares that it feels like forward motion without the vulnerability of being seen, judged, or rejected. Small tasks became your drug of choice because they never ask you to be different than you already are. They don't challenge your identity. They don't force you to admit you might not be ready. They just let you stay comfortable while feeling useful. So you keep feeding the loop. Another article saved for later, another course purchased but never finished, another evening spent preparing for a life you're somehow never quite ready to live. And the truly insidious part, once your brain learns this pattern, once it realizes it can have the feeling without the risk, it doesn't just prefer it, it starts protecting it. Your morning routine is flawless. Wake up at 6:15. Meditate for exactly 12 minutes. Journal 3 pages, green smoothie, no exceptions. Every Sunday you plan the week down to 30-minute blocks, color-coded, categorized. Beautiful, really. And when Friday comes, you look back at that perfect grid and feel something close to pride, because everything happened on schedule, except where did you actually go? Here's the thing nobody tells you about control. It's the most seductive distraction ever invented. It feels like power, feels like you're steering your life with precision and intention. But control and direction aren't the same thing. Control is about managing what's in front of you. Direction is about whether what's in front of you even matters. You can control your inbox and still be moving toward nothing. You can control your habits and still be becoming no one in particular. You can master your calendar and wake up 5 years later wondering why your life looks exactly the same, just with better systems. The truth, you organize because organizing is measurable. You can see it, touch it, prove it happened. But direction, real direction, requires you to aim at something uncertain, something you might miss. Something that doesn't give you immediate feedback or validation, and that terrifies you, so you avoid it by perfecting the parts you can control. You refine routines that don't threaten anything, build structures that keep you inside a boundary you never consciously chose, master the mechanics of your days while the trajectory of your life drifts silently off course. You control the schedule to avoid confronting the destination. Because as long as everything feels organized, you don't have to ask whether you're organizing yourself towards something meaningful or just organizing. And when control becomes your identity, when having it together is how you see yourself, stagnation stops feeling like a problem. It starts feeling like stability. 3 years ago, you said you weren't ready yet, needed more experience, more clarity. The timing wasn't quite right. 2 years ago, same answer, just worded differently. Last year, you convinced yourself you were being strategic, patient, thoughtful. And now, when someone asks why you haven't moved, you don't even hesitate. The explanation rolls off your tongue like a rehearsed script. I'm building the foundation first. I want to make sure I do it right. There's just a few more things I need to figure out. You don't sound like someone who's stuck. You sound reasonable, intelligent even. That's when you know the shift happened. At some point, your mind stopped asking what's missing and started building arguments for why nothing should change. It stopped seeing stagnation as a problem to solve and started treating it like a position to defend. The excuses don't feel like excuses anymore. They feel like wisdom, like self-awareness, like you're the only person mature enough to recognize that rushing into things would be reckless. But here's what's really happening beneath that polished rationalization. You're protecting the life you have from the life you're afraid to risk. Every reason you give yourself sounds true, and maybe parts of it are, but truth and avoidance aren't mutually exclusive. You can be genuinely unprepared and using that unpreparedness as a shield. You can legitimately need more time and be stretching that need into infinity. Your mind doesn't lie to you. It just becomes a lawyer for your fear. And the most dangerous part, once this defense system activates, it becomes invisible. You stop noticing that every year the goalpost moves just a little further. That soon has become a permanent placeholder, that preparation turned into a lifestyle. This is where people stay busy for years without realizing they're not just standing still. They're fortifying the ground beneath their feet. There's a moment that happens when you're about to make a real move. You know the one. Your hand hovers over send. Your finger lingers on publish. You're one conversation away from changing everything, and suddenly you remember something urgent you forgot to do. Not because you actually forgot, because your brain just threw every alarm it has. Here's what it's really protecting you from: finality. See, right now, in this exact moment, you still have potential. You could still be anything. That business idea might be brilliant. You just haven't tested it yet. That relationship might be perfect. You just haven't fully committed. That career shift might be exactly what you need. You're just waiting for the right moment. As long as you don't choose, you can't choose wrong. And your brain knows something you keep trying to ignore. Once you commit, once you actually step into one version of your life, all the other versions disappear. The writer who never writes can still imagine they're talented. The entrepreneur who never launches can still believe they'd succeed. The person who never tries can still pretend they would have been extraordinary. But the moment you act, reality gets a vote. And reality is brutally specific. It doesn't care about your intentions or your potential. It only responds to what you actually do, which means every real decision carries the same hidden cost. Proof that you're not as ready as you thought. Proof that it's harder than you imagined. Proof that maybe, just maybe, you're more ordinary than the story you've been telling yourself. So you stay busy instead. Keep all the doors open. Maintain the illusion that you're just one decision away from everything clicking into place. Because as long as you're busy, failure never becomes final. It just stays theoretical, avoidable. Somewhere in the future, you keep pushing further away. You don't wake up one morning and realize you're behind. It doesn't hit you all at once like that. It's quieter. You're scrolling through social media and see someone you used to know, same age, same starting point, announcing something, a promotion, a launch, a move to a new city, and you feel that flicker, not jealousy exactly, something closer to confusion, because weren't you both in the same place not that long ago? You tell yourself it doesn't matter, different paths, different priorities. You've been focused on building the right foundation, being intentional, not rushing into things like everyone else, and you go back to your list, your systems, your routines. But that flicker doesn't leave, it just moves deeper. Months pass, then a year, then several, and the people around you start looking different, not older, just more defined, like they know what their lives are about, like they've been shaped by decisions they actually made, mistakes they actually survived, risks that actually taught them something, and you're still preparing, still optimizing, still waiting for that elusive moment of absolute readiness that somehow never arrives. The strangest part is how subtle the drift becomes. You don't feel like you're falling behind day to day. Your calendar is full, your efforts are real. You're genuinely tired at the end of every week, but somewhere along the way, busy stopped meaning building and started meaning maintaining. You're no longer working toward a future. You're just managing a present that never evolves. And then one day, not today, not tomorrow, but eventually, you look around and realize something that makes your chest tighten. You don't feel behind. You feel undefined, like everyone else became a person while you became a process. And at that point, busyness stops feeling like safety. It starts feeling like evidence. Your boss just praised you for responding to emails at 11 p.m. Your friends admire how much you juggle. Your LinkedIn profile screams, busy professional, and none of it means you're going anywhere. Here's the trap the modern world set perfectly. It learned to reward the appearance of motion without ever checking the destination. You get validation for being responsive, not for being effective, for looking engaged, not for actually mattering. Think about what gets celebrated now. Not the person who disappeared for 6 months to build something real. The person who posts daily updates about building, not the one who makes hard decisions in silence, the one who performs decision-making in public, not transformation, documentation of almost transformation. The entire system is designed to keep you visible, active, and perpetually intermediate. You're praised for attending meetings that accomplish nothing, rewarded for replying quickly to messages that don't require replies, valued for your availability, not your output. And slowly, without realizing it, you start optimizing for the wrong scorecard. You measure yourself by how full your calendar is instead of how much actually changed, by how many hours you worked instead of what those hours produced, by how exhausted you feel instead of what that exhaustion bought you. And the world doesn't correct you, it encourages you, because a population that's constantly busy but never advancing is perfect. You're not threatening, not disruptive, not taking up space that matters. You're just there, participating, consuming, staying in motion without ever gaining momentum. The cruelest part? The modern environment doesn't punish stagnation disguised as effort. It ignores it. You can spend decades being busy, and the world will nod approvingly while quietly rooting opportunity around you. You'll get the participation trophy, the great team player feedback, the polite acknowledgement, but not the life you thought all that effort was building toward. And if nothing interrupts this loop, if you never stop long enough to see it, the final stage is predictable. There's no formula here, no 5-step system, no morning routine that fixes this, because the shift doesn't come from adding something new. It comes from finally admitting what you already know. You know your calendar is full and your life is empty. You know you're optimizing details while the big picture stays blurry. You know that one day, maybe soon, you'll run out of time to keep rehearsing for a life you never actually start living. You know. The question isn't whether you see it. It's whether you're willing to do something that feels completely wrong. Stop. Not forever. Just long enough to ask the question you've been outrunning. What would I do if I wasn't afraid of wasting time, looking foolish, or being wrong? Because here's what nobody tells you about real progress. It doesn't feel productive at first. It feels slow, uncomfortable, exposed, like you're doing less when you should be doing more. The person writing their first terrible draft feels less productive than the person reorganizing research notes. The founder launching an imperfect product feels less in control than the one perfecting their business plan. The artist showing unfinished work feels more vulnerable than the one taking another class. Real progress exposes you. Busyness protects you. And the hardest truth is this: you can't ease into exposure. You can't prepare your way into courage. At some point, you just have to choose discomfort over distraction. Not because you're ready, because readiness is another story you tell yourself to delay the one decision that actually changes anything. Most people wait for clarity before they move, but clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing the thing that scares you and discovering you survive it. That's the only way forward, and it's been waiting for you this entire time. So here you are, same place you were a few minutes ago, same life you woke up to this morning. Nothing's changed yet, and that's fine. Most people close a video like this, nod quietly, and go back to exactly what they were doing. They'll reorganize their desk tomorrow, update their schedule, maybe even feel motivated for a few hours. Then the pattern resumes. Because motivation isn't the problem. The problem is that your entire nervous system is wired to keep you comfortable. And comfort has been disguised as productivity for so long, you can't tell them apart anymore. You can stay busy, you can stay organized, you can stay exhausted every single night and still wake up to a life that looks identical year after year. That's an option, a real one. And for most people, it's the option they choose without ever consciously choosing it. But here's the question that might actually matter. Are you busy because you're moving forward, or because moving forward would force you to let go of who you are right now? If this video did what it was supposed to, you already know the answer. You felt it somewhere in the last 15 minutes. That uncomfortable recognition that you've been protecting yourself from the very thing you claim to want. Most people don't realize when comfort becomes the cage. They just learn to decorate it.